Kia ora, Sagittarius Collective. This is a collective reading, I should say, for this full moon, and it's looking very, very big full moon in Sagittarius. It's the 13th today, so we're getting these readings out, but this is the first one, and it is for the collective. These are very general readings, intuitive tarot readings, coming straight from Tiwai Pounamu, as they say here in Aotearoa. I'm trying to improve my very limited reo. So let's just crack on with this, shall we? So yeah, this full moon, Sagittarius, it's kind of been an interesting time. I'm not an astrologer, but I think the big crackling kind of element to this has been Venus conjunct Uranus, I should say. Yeah, interesting. Anyway, collective, a global viewpoint here. We're tapping into the sort of vibrations, to that, to the frequencies around and about. So let's pull some cards here. They're going all over the place. We've got the Four of Wands about, actually in the Thoth deck, this card, the Four of Wands, is called completion, because there has been a gathering of things. There is a completion in this card. It is sometimes described as a happy home card, because it is like a homecoming. We have it is a wand. It's about will. It's about fire. We have come to an understanding of how we sit with this within ourselves, how we are with our own, how comfortable we are with it. That's just what I'm getting. We then get the Six of Discs, a reciprocal card, a generous card. We can afford, can we not, to be generous with that understanding within ourselves, expressing that out to those people that we have relationships with, that we deal with on a daily basis. There's something quite calm and solid about this expression of the wands, of the Four of Wands, with the Six of Discs. So it's interesting. Wheel of Fortune. As I said in the last collection of readings at that new moon in Gemini, that it did seem to be at this time. Of course, we're coming up to the solstice, and down here in the southern hemisphere, we're right just sort of on the line. We're right on the precipice of that time, and for here it's just suddenly, which is unusual. It's usually a lot colder earlier, but it's just got really quite cold now, and there's snow further south. So we've had quite a good run thus far, but we are right on that winter time, that line of which we will be crossing over soon. In that sense, it is, we look at that, we're feeling the cycles, aren't we? But I do believe that last new moon, it was quite a big turnaround, big shifts. But anyway, so we've got the Four of Wands. I do see this as feeling very comfortable within our abilities and how we express that around us at the moment. And ability to be very generous with that, because we're not losing anything through or by generosity, whether that's with commodities or time. We're not losing anything. One doesn't lose anything by being willing to support others, wanting to see others do their best, and supporting people to do that. You don't lose something doing that. You're not, what's the word? It's tongue-tied. Always am at the first reading. Resources are unlimited. Your resources, other people's resources are unlimited. I'm not talking about poverty here or anything like that. I'm talking about stripped back down the human entity. Your resources are unlimited. Okay. So, 4 of Wands, 6 of Discs, free flow. That was coming up a lot during the previous new moon. Generosity of flow, this natural kind of flow. It's very hard to achieve. Wheel of Fortune, but at least we can try, and it keeps the wheels spinning. Keeps the wheels spinning, it keeps the movement happening here. We then get the moon. Maybe something is revealed here within our own lives, within the global arena. Maybe there are some more revelations or exposures. We'll go through and clarify. Then we have the Fool leaping off. New growth. A fresh beginning. Potential of a fresh beginning. And you might not see that actually yet. You might not be seeing that, but 6 of Swords, another 6. To put it on the tree of life, balance, beauty, and harmony. 6 of Swords, moving across the water, maybe, travelling, but definitely moving to a more conducive place. If we're willing to take a leap, if we're willing to be the great archer flying out there, full of hope and positivity, yep, sometimes that's quite difficult. But anyway, let's see. Sagittarius full moon for the collective. Let's look at the 4 of Wands. Home. Too many coming out. Just want one card to clarify the 4 of Wands. It can be seen to be the consummate happy home. We have the Magician. We're very comfortable with, when you think of the 4s, they're all about solidity, stability, security, all the S words, All the S words. Sometimes we have to let some things go in order to fully continue to move, in order to continue to grow. I don't see that here. I think it's important to what I'm seeing really is the necessity, or in fact just the need to be very comfortable with your will center, where you're choosing to go, how you choose to express. Like, there are so many other factors, aren't there? There are so many other things that come into our internal home that impact our choices, but sometimes in life we're challenged to really break free from some of those obligations, or what is seen to be acceptable, what's not acceptable. We break free of that. And, Fleetwood Mac, go your own way. This really speaks of this with the magician. Go your own way. It doesn't mean that you have to be a hermit or anything. 6 of discs, please, here for this collective reading for the collective. Very general reading. Very general. The Empress. Generosity, yeah. Creative, yep. Like the consummate sort of symbol of mother love, creativity, the birds, the bees, swans, beautiful flowers. Flow. We see this in the waters behind this Empress. We see those natural flows. And what appear to be those cypress. I just sort of not generally don't sort of notice that back part of this card, but yeah, the flowing waterfall. It's a beautiful card. Somewhere in here, we really are being driven by sort of a larger calling. I see. A larger calling, if that makes sense. These readings are often quite metaphorical, or they come across in more like metaphor than literals. So we have this beautiful wheel of fortune, like a water wheel. It's productive, The flow is productive. It clears out the detritus as well. This 10 of Wands, end of a cycle. It's the end of a cycle, beginning of a new cycle. We understand here with that 4 of Wands, with the magician, that we take ownership of this wand. It is our will. As I say often, love is the law, love under will. Now, love is the law. We deal with the human animal, don't we? 4 of Swords, sometimes, yes. We need some respite. We need some review. Let's look at the moon. What is the moon at this time illuminating for us? Too many, but I will read them out. First up, as they came out, and we're asking here, the moon. Things that we sometimes are conscious of, equally things that we're not conscious of. These can be behaviours, whatever they are. Behaviours in ourselves, or others. We have, as they came out, as I said, this beautiful King of Swords. I love the King of Swords. Sweeps through in leather, cleaning and clearing, like a very strong, fresh breeze. I love it. Clarity, wisdom combined. Nothing's really a problem for this King of Swords. Maybe a bit harsh sometimes in in the mind department. But it's cleaning and it's clearing. We've got the 7 of Wands here. Standing up for our principles. I think in the last new moon in Gemini, we had this coming up a lot. We really need to understand, in order to defend our integrity, if that's what we feel that we are doing or have to at this time, we need to know we're on solid ground here, even ground. We also, speaking of unconscious and conscious behaviours, etc., we also need to understand or be aware of, is this simply a repeating pattern of behaviour? Because it is a card of choosing your battles, you know. Sometimes we get distracted by sort of battling with very petty elements associated with our egos, more than, you know what I mean. So yeah, then this is quite a few for the moon card. We have we have royalty, Queen of Pentacles. Again, a nice combination of air and earth here. We find the balance in between. We don't want to get too carried away with the dispersive nature of air. We want to remember where our feet are on the ground, preferably even ground at this current time. And then we have the beautiful Ace. There's a gift in here. There's a gift in here, as is often the case, when we're really making decisions, choices based on I'd just say, like, our own idea of common sense. But then everyone's sort of levels and ideas of that are different, aren't they, for themselves? Obviously, everyone's different. But we take a wise approach, is what I'm saying. A wise approach to choices at this time. I think there's something wonderful about the sort of Sagittarian archetype of really sort of projecting, in some ways, projecting forward, having, you know, ruled by Jupiter, of course, having a very expansive view and a very hopeful, you know, hopeful sense. We've got Brian Froud, Pixie Fairy Oracle here. If we could just get a few cards, that would be good. Often the first, yeah, there's a lot of, there's either a lot of activity. Well, you might find that there has been. To me, it's felt kind of like stops and starts still, but maybe it's just starting to take off a bit now. That could just be what's going on in my sphere, but we're tuning into the cosmic threads here, aren't we? So, topsy-turvets, perspectives. I mean, it's all about perspective, isn't it, really? We can look at something one day and it looks one way, and then we see it the next day and it looks completely different. But it may well be the same thing. What may appear to be what may appear to be a non-event is actually an event. Like, we don't necessarily see what's bubbling under the surface, do we? We don't always see returns for investments, full stop, but we often don't see them. We don't see what's going on behind the scenes, is what I'm getting topsy-turvy. It's what looks that way, turn it up, same. Perspective. Just a couple more cards for Brian Froud, please. Couple more, please. As I said, you know, there's a level of mastery in being able to shift your own energy. Sometimes it's very difficult, but sometimes it can be very simple. And it's practice makes perfect. I'm just getting that because we have Luminous Doom, which is about a process of sort of digestion, almost getting used to higher vibes, getting used to more excitement. Maybe this is something that's sort of bubbling up at the moment, or, you know, springtime, wow, or, you know, wherever you are in the world. It's about digestion. It's about, see these bubbles, you know, it's like baby burps. We've taken on some new energy. I mean, you know, this is sort of what's going on in the world to a certain degree, and it's not cosmotron stuff at all. It's simple. We're kind of evolving. Whoop, excuse that. Evolving into an age where people are actually consciously aware of energy, whether it's energy like what's good, what's not good, fossil fuel, you know, solar power. It's all about energy out there in the tangible physical world. It's also more people are aware of their energy, what they require, what they need, you know, for well-being, for balance in their lives. Suddenly it's like it becomes very clear that if you don't make those particular choices, that you get sort of a lot of your energetic self gets, an emotional body gets sort of sucked into whatever those things are, those other external things or people that are sucking a lot of that out. So we make a choice, or sucking it up, or we're offering it out there anyway, you know. So we make a choice to be more discerning with our energy. That's something that's so huge that I think, you know, amazing Carolyn Mace, amazing, you know, woman. What was I listening to recently? Anyway, we're entering that age of energy. Energy is, and that's a perspective, is what we're entering into. And so people are more aware of it. Anyway, I'm going on a bit. The Singer of the Chalice, which is like the Ace of Cups, which we have in this reading. Anyway, so we're digesting higher amounts of, we're not only in tune with ourselves a little bit more, we're also in tune with others. We're operating on possibly somewhat higher kind of levels of however you want to look at it. Not necessarily telepathy, but, you know, our senses have been given like a steroid kind of boost somehow, but it's just the nature of evolution here. And then we have the master makers. So we've been branded, we've worked hard here. This is all about balance, really, this reading in a nutshell, and making a conscious choice to be are aware and conscious and take responsibility for our own energy and how that impacts others, how it works with us, how we work with it out there in the world as much as in our own safe internal home. I'm just getting we'll get an art oracle card too. I just got these because they're very basic. If you're really into stones, and I mean, people always talk about crystals. Yeah, crystals are really amazing. But, you know, they're amazing stones, and it's just like earth, isn't it? Anyway, so I got these cards. They're quite succinct. So with this reading, which I think is kind of appropriate for the Sagittarius full moon, we get the beautiful ruby. And it simply says increased abundance, passion, lucid dreaming, remember your dreams, try and remember your dreams, light of the soul. So when we're talking about energy balance, energy awareness, all things energetic, because we're moving into that age. I think ruby's great because it is a very fiery, sort of will-centered. We're talking passion. We're talking, you know, the essence, like the filament of the soul. Interesting. Anyway, let's get an art oracle card. These are really cool. We'll get an art oracle. Gosh, we've gone on a bit, haven't we, today? Anyway, see what the art oracle has for us on this full moon in Sagittarius. This lovely Jupiterian. We get two. No, we just get one. Yeah. Oh, one fell out. Well, we'll read these two. Yeah, one fell out. We've got, which I think came up for someone last week, Gustave Courbet. I used to love his paintings. Fight the power, paint the powerless. Show what, these are like work, art, life, work, and inspiration. So life, fight the power, paint the powerless. Show what you see, not what you saw. And may your art help finance your legal fees. Because I think he had a little bit of trouble with the law, not abiding by the rules of the time. Then we have Wei Wei. I'm not too sure, excuse my ignorance. I have heard of this artist. When authority says to be quiet, get a loudspeaker. I like that. Art must fight for freedom, or the whole world is a prison. I believe that. Some things are whole only when they shatter. Interesting full moon Sagittarius collective reading. And on that note, I hope you got something out of that. Do check out your astro signs, Venus, your ascendant moon, and Jupiter, if you know what they are. Obviously your sun sign, because they'll be up, most of them, by tomorrow, later today and tomorrow. It's the 13th of June here today, and yeah, not long before that midwinter or midsummer point for those in the northern hemisphere. So thanks for joining me. Ka kite, and we'll see you next time. Cheery.